Oh my gosh! Welp, looks like it's my sworn duty now to cover this darn movie. I honestly didn't expect to cover this topic again, not till at least some trailers, some more footage and information was released, but I think I might need to clear something up that a lot of people may be questioning me about ever since I made that monster movie video. And honestly, I'm surprised it's still going strong. I mean, 10,000 views? Bruh. And I'll be honest, I'm still proud of that video even to this day. However, I think that there are a few statements that I could touch upon, so to speak. Because during the production of that video, I was, as you could probably tell, kind of full of hatred and salt, so to speak. I wasn't exactly able to get my thoughts out there, and I wasn't exactly able to express what I was thinking and what my worries for this movie are. Sure, I told you guys about it, but that doesn't mean I expressed them in the clearest way and form. And so I kind of wanted to dedicate this video not to be milking a topic, no, but because I want to get a few things out of the way so that way people aren't confused. Alright, let's get this started. First and foremost, I kind of want to expand on the whole nitpicking idea. I've gotten some comments on that video that said that I spent way too much time nitpicking and that I kind of over-exaggerated the whole thing. That, I will admit, I was kind of in a salty fury, so to speak. I was kind of unclear in the head at the moment, though I would like to bring this up because I think that it could bring up some basis as to what I mean. Now, some people may think that my statements about Rathalos and Gormagala are just simply nitpicks. They're just designs of the monster, so to speak. They're just little small, minute little details that won't matter into the grand scheme of things. True, they don't have that big of an impact. However, the thing is that this is an adaptation. And sure, as a lot of people have already said, adaptations are not always 100% perfect. In fact, I'm not even guaranteeing that the movie is going to be 100% accurate, because that would just be straight up overestimating the movie. However, it's important to bring up these little details because they matter in the monster, so to speak. For Capcom and the monster game as a whole, Capcom spent and put a lot of time into the monster design, not just to make it look cool, but to also allow it to fit into the world of Monster Hunter. What role does it play into the ecosystem? What are its traits and features? And what is it primarily like? Is it a carnivore? Is it a herbivore? Or is it something else? All these things and more we can estimate and guess because of the monster's design, of the attributes and traits that go into a monster. For example, though the details are minute, we can tell that Astalos is based off several different kinds and species of bugs due to the glass butterfly-like wings that Astalos shares, as well as the various cricket and chirp sounds that the Astalos makes. It's a flying wyvern, but we can guess that it was based off these creatures, and that's because details play an important part in Monster Hunter. Something as simple as Gore not having eyes makes the biggest of differences in terms of that monster's style, in terms of how it behaves. The reason Gormagala even behaves in the first place, and the reason why it even pops up its feelers at all, is because it doesn't have eyes. Sure, it may have physical eyes, so to speak, but these eyes aren't fully developed until he's an adult, until the Gormagala evolves into a Shagarmagala. Only then the eyes are fully developed and is capable of, quote, seeing in the way that we think. Gormagala, however, not having physical eyes is very important because it also plays into its unique attribute, the Frenzy Virus, which is something unique to it and the Magala family as a whole. It is what makes up the Magala family, and it is what makes them unique. So, giving Gormagala physical eyes in the trailer may not seem that bad of an idea. However, in the grand scheme of the monster and what the monster is based off and what it is going for, it totally trashes upon the idea. This can also apply to Rathalos as well. It is meant to be a true flying wyvern. It's not supposed to have its arms on the ground, it's supposed to be a true wyvern. It's supposed to stick to the air. Heck, its nickname is the King of the Skies. I don't think it needs to be debated any further. So giving a true flying wyvern pseudo-wyvern arms like Tigrex is a bad idea. Not because it isn't perfect or exactly like the original, but because it betrays the idea of what Rathalos is supposed to be. In an adaptation, I'm perfectly fine with making changes. However, when you make changes that directly impact the way the monster behaves, then that's where we have the problem. So in a way, no, it's not a nitpick because this is a design that Capcom made for this creature. This is the way a Gormagala is supposed to act. This is the way a Rathalos is supposed to act. And yet, giving Rathalos pseudo-wyvern arms and giving Gormagala physical eyes betrays the way that monster is supposed to behave in the Monster Hunter world. Oh, and that brings me to my next point. The use of tropes. Okay, in honesty, nothing can be original anymore. I mean, sure, you can say that you're coming up with original ideas, but really, there's always going to be that one idea that you borrow or are inspired from another person. So really, saying that stuff is original now is kind of an overstate. I spent some time in my original video discussing about the tropes of the plot, the story of the characters, and how bad it was. Now let me explain why exactly it's bad. You see, there's an art, so to speak, in using tropes. Now, as I've already said, no idea is exactly original any longer. There's always going to be a point where you borrow a trope or revamp an idea from another. However, it's what you do with that trope that makes it good or makes it fall flat on its face. A perfect example I would like to bring up for using tropes in a bad way is the Emoji Movie. Oh boy, the internet is already hating this movie, and, well, the like to dislike ratio is making that clearly obvious. If you've watched Wreck-It Ralph, you've already watched the Emoji Movie. If you watched Lego Movie, you've already watched the Emoji Movie. And that's because it borrows the same ideas from Wreck-It Ralph and the Lego Movie for this movie. Heck, even a little bit of Inside Out as well, because it basically borrows the same exact concept. For example, let's take the Lego Movie. In the Lego Movie, you take a non-real character, a character that doesn't live in the way we think a Lego character, and we make that character living, a person, so to speak. And then we put that person in a world, so to speak. So in this case, a world of Lego people, a Lego world for them to live in, as well as, well, Lego parallels of our world, such as TV and stuff. And then finally, put that character in a situation. Heck, you can even apply this to Inside Out. In Inside Out, the main characters are emotions, non-living things inside the main human characters' heads. And when one of the key emotions, sadness, tries to alter one of the core memories, hijinks ensues as soon as joy and sadness go on a journey to restore the main human character's core memories. That is basically the Emoji Movie in a nutshell. You take non-living characters, emojis, and you put them in a situation, like that emoji being an outcast and not being like the others. However, what makes Wreck-It Ralph, Inside Out, and the Lego Movie work is how those tropes are used in the context of a story and in the characters. With Ralph, for example, from Wreck-It Ralph, he's a villain and he doesn't want to be a villain. However, as the story progresses, and as things get more complicated and down to the line, he realizes that not everything is what it seems. That maybe it's good to be just who you are, to be a bad guy in that situation. You see what I mean? The character develops not just because of a trope, but because of how the trope develops in the movie and how it's used. The tropes in that movie aren't just used to be tropes. They aren't used to just be cliches, and they aren't used just to be there. The tropes advance the story, and they are developed in their own right for each character and for the main theme, message, and plot of the story. The Emoji Movie doesn't exactly do that. It's the same exact concept, it's the same exact song and dance we've already been through, and tries to do nothing new with the original concept, with the original trope. That's the problem I have with the monster movie. In fact, it seems to be going through the same thing the Emoji Movie is. You know, monsters or aliens or demons or whatever invade from a parallel world. The hero is the descendant of some great big hero, and he has to defend this world from the monsters or whatever in order to save our reality, blah 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 blah. You get what I mean? Not only is this a redundant trope, but it's a trope that isn't developed. It's a trope that isn't made into something different. It isn't developed into the movie into something new. They don't do anything with it so far from what we can see with the plot synopsis. It's just a trope just to be a trope. It is there just to create the baseline of a story. And while you can use a trope as a baseline for the story, it's still good to develop it. But no, the Emoji Movie and the Monster Movie is basically doing the same thing. They're using tropes as tropes. They aren't developing the story, they aren't doing anything original, and they aren't doing anything new. They aren't developing the story. And that's the problem I have with the tropes in the Monster Hunter movie. Now, for all I know, who knows, this may all change in the near future. We may get a trailer and that may all change my mind or something. We may see some new developments or whatever. But the point is, if they don't develop these tropes, and if they don't utilize the tropes to their advantage and make them into something new, something that develops the narrative and the characters in it, then it's not gonna work. It's just going to be seen as a cliche. It's going to be seen as nothing but a trope just to be a trope. And this also ties into the setting somewhat, since it, yet again, is a trope. As I said, monsters, demons, dragons, whatever you want to take, your cookie villain of the week, just pop it into a blender and then make them come right into our world. And I swear, if the monsters come through yet another frickin' portal in the sky, then I am going to shoot something. And finally, we come down to the last thing I want to discuss. The director / developer / maker of the movie, whatever you want to say. I've seen some comments say that to not judge a movie this quickly, to not say it's going to be bad already. While I do somewhat agree with this notion, I also disagree with it, because I'm worried. I'm not saying that this movie is going to be bad. I'm not saying that this movie is already bad, but I'm saying that there are signs that could make this movie bad. Keyword, could. There's a potential for the movie to be bad, and there's a potential for it to be underdeveloped, and for Monster Hunter fans, especially me, and for everyone else out there, all of you guys, to be disappointed. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. For the first time in forever, we're getting a Monster Hunter movie. We are getting the chance of a lifetime to have our favorite franchise made into a movie, a potential successful movie franchise that can delve deeper into the ideas, into the backstory, into the mechanics around the Monster Hunter world. These movies can allow us to explore the Monster Hunter world and the creatures that inhabit it besides just playing the game. By making this movie, it's opening up a door to so many new possibilities. And that's why this whole situation sucks. Now, I'm not saying that the director is the worst ever. However, after looking at his track record and his most recent movie's reception, I'm worried. I'm not saying that it's outright bad, but I'm just worried. I'm worried this movie isn't going to do well, and I'm worried that our once-in-a-lifetime, our only and last chance on a Monster Hunter movie is going down the drain. And I know that there's this whole notion about not to judge a book by its cover. However, as I've already stated, there can be signs and warnings ahead of time, before the movie even comes out, before a trailer even comes out, that makes us worry. That makes us fear that this movie isn't going to do well. Or heck, take any media for that example, that a TV show, a book series, whatever you want to say, isn't going to do well. We all have our doubts, we all have our worries, and we all have our fears about this movie and about anything else in life. And that's why I care about this movie, not just because Monster Hunter is my favorite franchise, but because it has the potential to be great. It has the potential to be successful. It has the chance to be one of a few good video game movies out there. But I guess we're gonna have to see in time. Hopefully this clarified the questions, and hopefully this clarified some of your thoughts and some things that I've been getting recently, or even not recently at all the way back to it since the video was launched. I'll be honest, as much as I hated the movie, as much as I sounded angry in the previous video about this movie, I want this movie to be well. I want this movie to be successful, and I want this movie to be good. But that's why I'm personally worried about this, not just as a fan, but as a potential watcher of that movie. Heck, even if the movie has the 99% chance of being bad, I'm still gonna go see it because it's Monster Hunter, something that I'm not only devoted to watching, but also to caring about. Not just because it isn't my favorite franchise ever, but because there's potential. And so, that's all for this video. Is there any other thoughts that you guys want to ask me? Is there anything else that you're worried about this movie? Or is there anything else that you want to ask? Please, let me know in the comment section below. And, well, I'm probably not going to make another video on this subject until more information comes out. I mean, sure, there is news that the Monster movie is going to start development this fall, but really, there's not much information out there at the time to really make any more videos about. As such, this is going to be my last video on this subject until we get some more information or potentially a trailer. Until then, I'm the Monarch of Dragons, and I hope you all have a fantastic day or night wherever you live. Peace.